Hello everyone, welcome back to This Is Why We Stand on Westchester Talk Radio. We are broadcasting live from Scarsdale Ford. I'm your host, Joe Archino, and we are produced by SALRadio and made possible by Entergy Indian Point Energy Center, MSM Designs, Game Sportswear, and once again, we could not be doing this without our gracious host, Scarsdale Ford. Right now, we have Ken Kraetzer from Sons of the American Legion Radio. He is our inside man for Army football this season. Ken, you've been with us the last couple times, and thank you for being with us again.
Well, our pleasure. You do a great job. You have great guests from the veterans community on your show every week. And I want to mention is a fascinating, very sobering article on the front page of the New York Times Magazine section. I got it this morning. Profiling the story of a soldier from the Bronx who joined the 1st Infantry Division sent to Afghanistan and struggles. And the whole unit was struggling. He talked about, Afghanistan being a forgotten war. And, that really the struggles even to win the hearts and minds of people there. So a fascinating article, front page of the New York Times Magazine, very in-depth. It's a part of a book that's coming out, so it's very well worth spending a little time to read.
And we appreciate the heads up, sir. I know a lot of people are always looking for good reading material, and this week was National Book Lovers Day. We had our author Ronnie Abras on here to kind of talk about his book, so it's always good to have more reading material. But Ken, today, the last couple times you were here, we were outside, it was bright and shiny. Not a similar day today, but that is not going to stop you from being at Army football practice later. You've been with the team for their first practice, you've been around it. How are things shaping up so far?
Well, I was like Coach Munkin was down at Rice University for a game, and it's pouring rain the whole game. And so he does a little interview going out on the field, and the commentator asked him about playing in the rain, and he says, "We're the U.S. Army, the rain doesn't stop us."
I like that. That's the motto, it is.
It's not raining, it's not training, it's their motto. Actually, we had a chance to watch the freshmen finish their basic training on Monday, and they do something called the March Back to West Point from Camp Buckner, about 12 miles, full pack. They start in the middle of the night, they get to West Point about 10 in the morning, and they get a tremendous recognition from the community at West Point in front of the superintendent's house. And they showed some film clips of the freshmen at West Point doing the obstacle courses in the rain, one of those big rainstorms we had last week. And they don't stop. They obviously make sure what's a safety limit, where what's the point where they have to stop because of weather conditions. Certainly lightning's a factor. But they keep training because that's how it is in the field. And they say the war doesn't stop because of the rain.
It's absolutely true. Ken, we're getting close. August 31st, Army versus Duke. We're getting very close. How do you think the team is shaping up so far?
Well, the big thing with this Army team and what Jeff Munkin, the head coach, has brought in as coaches is depth. And they've got a lot of players, and they lost some very talented seniors who helped Army win the Commander-in-Chief Trophy the first time in 20 years. And the big loss is the quarterback, Ahmad Bradshaw, who has just set records for the amount of rushing, and really just for his ability to manage the football, which they all talk about. He only had 4 fumbles last year, running the option where he's running the ball almost every play. And so they've got some losses. They lost 4 of their offensive line. Unfortunately, they hold on to their big center, Bryce Holland. It'll be his 3rd year at center for Army, so that helps a lot. We were talking to their big offensive guard from Frisco, Texas. He kept reminding us, Jackson Deaton, he's 6'6", 310, which is a little unusual for Army to have players that big. That's something Jeff Munkin has insisted on, that he's got to have offensive linemen the size of other comparable schools they're going to play. Because 300-pound offensive lineman is ubiquitous in college football now. And Army was trying to get by with 260, 270-pound players. It just doesn't work. So the reason they've had success is that Jeff Munkin has brought in strength and conditioning coaches, and they're able to build up the players in the off-season. One of the players was talking about how tough it is when they do their field training for 3-4 weeks in the summer, where they can't do anything. And it's hard to find proper meals. I mean, they're eating these the Army rations. They love to talk about the MREs. Yeah, you know about it. And even with the comment I was saying, it's a challenge for soldiers to stay in shape when they're doing Army duty because it's different. And so then on defense, so they got to find a quarterback, and that's one of the big things we'll look at in the scrimmage this afternoon. They'll be scrimmaging from 3 to 5 o'clock. And we got to see Kelvin Hopkins, the junior, was the leading candidate coming out of spring practice. He played sparingly along with Luke Langdon, who's going to be a senior. Behind him, Ahmad Bradshaw. They came in for some passing plays mostly. And Kelvin managed the ball well. He's not a big player, but neither was Ahmad Bradshaw. But I think he's got the inside track. They tried one of the slot backs at quarterback, Kel Walker, who is a phenomenal player. He's the kind of guy who's probably the best. He could be a backup point guard on the basketball team. He's got great hands. And one of the keys in the offense is having somebody who can catch the pitch out. Because you fumble the pitch out, you have a fumble and you can lose the ball and that's it. And that's why they don't do it in the NFL very often. But in college, they manage it and they time it because, as Jackson Deaton was telling us, his job as a guard is to open up a hole for the fullback, for the first option. And they do run that a lot. Army's got 4 talented fullbacks ready to go for the season. And the next option is for the quarterback to run off tackle. If he sees an opening, if he doesn't, then his option is to pitch the ball to the trailing slot back. Okay. And so that's what the triple option is. And that's what they ran 95% of the time. When they have to drop back to pass, things don't always go so well.
It's not always pretty, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Ken, everyone is so excited for the Oklahoma game, obviously. It's the one on the calendar you're probably circling right off the bat. Does Army have a shot in this one?
Well, it's part of Army's strategy. I mean, Army is a 3-time national champion. They've had 3 Heisman Trophy winners. Yes, it really was from the World War II era, but they still feel that they are a big part of the National College Football scene. They were a big part in starting the National Football Foundation, which runs the Hall of Fame and gives out the major awards. So they want to be part of the scene, and what their strategy has been is to play one top 20 team a year. And they played Stanford. They had a home-and-home with Stanford a few years ago. They played Notre Dame a few times. Last year they went out to Ohio State. And the Ohio State game was 17-7 in the third quarter. And in the second quarter of that game, Army got the ball back after a punt on their 1-yard line. Looked bad. And they ran an 18-play drive, didn't pass the ball once, had Ohio State on their heels because they're not used to playing more than 6-7 plays in a row on defense. They're playing 18 plays, so an Army scored on them. So, they got a shot. Oklahoma, Sports Illustrated just ranked them number 5 in the country. They've won the Big 12 the last 3 years.
No more Baker Mayfield, obviously.
Yeah, they got a new guy, Kyler Murray. Sports Illustrated thinks will be the starter there. They're going to be loaded. They just rebuilt the football stadium in Oklahoma into a palace. I think we call it the Palace on the Prairie. So there'll be about 70 or 80,000 people there. But, it's nice. As I think I mentioned the day before, I'm going to go out to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is the big home of the field artillery to the U.S. Army. And my dad commissioned there, as well as his brother, in October 1942, after spending the summer there. He came out of the New York National Guard and was in uniform on September 7th, 41. So I'm getting a chance to go see that place I've heard about and realized it was a big part of my dad's Army career. And so we're going to try and spend a day out at Fort Sill and see it, do some reports, and then go to Oklahoma. But we can't, the thing for Army is their opener at Duke is very important. They managed to beat Duke at home last year after losing to them a number of years in a row. They played them very close in a rainstorm game down in Durham a couple of years ago. But this is a key one because it could get them off to a good start. And it's one of those games you say, it's a fair fight game. It's one of those games that could go either way. Army's going to be breaking in a new quarterback. So it's going to be a challenge, but they got the running game, and we'll see what happens here. But it's a very important game. They come home to play Liberty and Hawaii, 2 winnable games, I would say, and then the Oklahoma trip, and then they go up to Buffalo. And that's really the toughest part of their schedule until they get to Air Force and Navy later on.
The tone will be set in the Duke game, no question. Ken, you are the best at covering Army football. You really are. For people who want to see everything that happens later today and moving forward, where can they follow you?
Well, our 2 big places on Facebook is West Point Football Report, and on Twitter at Suns Legion Radio, and also you can go to my YouTube page. I'll have some of the video up there later today. But yeah, no, it's some good people up there. I think Ateen Darling's been covering Army football for 30 years, and John Minko from WFAN's been covering Army football for many years. He does a pregame show now. So, and Rich DeMarco. Rich helped me out when we went to the White House. He gave me some space on the back podium. Wow. And he's a great guy. I always think he's going to be working on Sundays one year. And he does a lot of great, he's the radio voice.
Ken Kraetzer, everyone, thank you so much, Ken. As always, you can check him out. And we're going to have him on again as we get closer to the season. Everyone, I'm Joe Archino. You're listening to This Is Why We Stand. Don't go anywhere.